pretty heavy and my butt hurts from carrying it.
No, it's your fault for bringing it up here. It should have been downstairs in the printer room.
I'm not ready for this. It's falling. It's falling.
You look like such an old man.
This is Groundeffected. Your mom is your dad, and today I'm opening a box from the Anycubic. Now, I may be a little bit late to the party, but Anycubic did finally send me their P1, which is their new machine that they are kickstarting. This is a new machine from Anycubic, and it is a 14K resolution screen, which means freaking nothing. We all know that already at this point. However, what it does tell us is that there is a X-axis resolution of 16.8 microns, but a Y-axis of 24.8 microns, which means that your microns of axis of detail is somewhere between there, but really it's probably around 24.8 microns, which, by the way, is freaking ridiculously small. And we're at the point where the K number of the screen doesn't matter, nor does the resolution. At this point, things are small enough that you can get super fine detail out of all these printers. A very important takeaway is that it is a 14K screen, which means that it's not affected by the anti-aliasing woes of the 16K screens of the kind of the days nowadays, basically. So this means you can actually use anti-aliasing, which is going to make a very big difference in your 3D prints.
That was such a good noise.
It was a very good noise. Look how nice it is. Very fantastic. You put the button in like that. Done. That is that ball screw in action there. Look, it's got a stretchy wire thing there that's in like a spiral that goes with the cable. That's because there's obviously a sensor. Yeah, look. There's a sensor there. And that's not the only place that has a sensor in this machine. I feel like it's a given at this point that 3D printers should come with some form of detecting stuff, which I guess at the same time, they say that it's to stop us from having failures, but really you're still going to have the failure. It's just a smaller failure. But I guess that does help in saving resin. This build plate is designed to be super flat, and there is like these little springs inside the screen which obviously aid in keeping that as flat as possible when the build plate comes down. I don't know if this is the best way of doing this, but it is a way, and it is what they're doing. There is also dynamic motion sensing in the bottom as well, which apparently is checking out the balancing of the screen and the plate together. The camera as well checks these together with its AR intelligence of some sort. I cannot pretend that I know any of this computing stuff. However, it is in there.
Yeah.
So, we're going to be making a drift car, a remote control 1/24 scale drift car. I need to go get the resin because I got some nylon type resin that I'm going to be using for the printing of this. And that I got from Soraya Tech. Don't know if this is going to be the best one, but I'm going to try this. This is a nylon black. Now, Anycubic would prefer I use one of their resins. However, they do sell this machine as being able to do industrial grade printing, and this means that they can print with resins that are a lot thicker than normal resins. So I decided I'm going to use a different resin, and I feel like that's probably a more accurate test and a little bit more honest than just using the resins that they gave me. It actually tells you what the stuff is installed. Like, let me take out this and see if it says it's not installed.
Okay.
See?
Yeah.
Not installed. So that's a good thing, because I don't see how it changes much.
Well, does it stop you printing?
Probably, but even if you try to print it, wouldn't do anything. So you'd be a schmuck if you try to print it.
I guess all you're wasting is time.
Well, you are, but you're going to have like a flat disc at the bottom there, but also at the same time, if you started printing like that, then I think you need to check user manual on yourself. Yeah. You need to go back to your own manufacturer. So I'm not even going to check level. I'm not going to do nothing. I'm going to do the standard, throw in a print and see what harpoons. Then I'm just going to print a friggin' remote control drifting car.
Sweet.
Now would be a good time to say that this printer does have a heater. Not like most other printers. It actually has a vat heater, which is a band around the vat, basically. I think that's what it is. But the vat itself heats up. This is what they're calling intelligent temperature controlled resin tank. Show them that it's mixing. It's mixing, but not like that. It's going like slowly. It's warm though. See. The printer has a function where you can preheat the resin before you start printing. I'm gonna say straight up though, that the annoying thing about this with the flat plate of this build plate, when it comes up after doing that, the resin is now nice and flubby because it is warm, and so any bit of air blows the resin all over the outsides of the vat, which is kind of annoying for me. After I'd figured that out though, I realized that I'm not going to use that function, and I just printed straight up, and I haven't had any problems with the resin getting up to the correct temperature so far.
Ah.
Is it that thing that's blinding? We need tissues. Get it, here's a tissue.
I don't. The metal as well.
Never mind the metal, it's going everywhere. It did a detection of the printer status, so it knew that it's still a printer. Then platform detection, residue detection, so it checked obviously if there's kharas. And then resin detection, to check if there's resin. Now it's doing a leveling test. And now it's going to do heating. So the early bird price, $499 doll hairs. But they said that's scratched from $799, so technically it's an $800 printer. Okay, well I guess there's no point standing here watching it because it's like watching freaking grass grow.
So what are we doing now?
I don't know, let's go tickle our bum.
What are you doing? I thought we were leaving.
No, I think I want to test something that I heard about. But I need to look inside here and see if I can find the tool that I need to test it with.
What is this thing?
This is a UV light testing device, which tells me whether UV light gets through things. See that little thing there? That thing knows what UV looks like. Okay. And this thing tells me whether there is UV. Okay, so we have 0 UV. Currently there is 0. Let me go get a UV torch. So that clearly tells us there's UV. So if we put this on the inside like that and then look at the numbers on that thing, any changes?
Not for the 0.
And I have the torch right opposite the thing and there is no UV going through. Okay, well that resolves that issue then. I heard through the grapevine that this thing was a bit leaky, and apparently it's not, but there is a bit of an air gap here, quite a large air gap here. I can literally fit my whole pinky in underneath there, which might not be perfect. I mean, that could be resolved with just a nice piece of draft foam stuff, right? I don't see it being a problem, especially with the heated vat. Like the vat is gonna make the difference with this. On the SD card, they already have the slicer ready for you to download, so I'm gonna just download that slicer. I already have it on my computer, but I'm just gonna update it because it makes sense. I have a slight problem on account of I do not understand the language that the slicer is in. I need the English version, so let me try to figure this out. I figured it out. I was just using the Chinese version of the app. But briefly touching on the app, you can monitor your prints through the camera through the app. I don't know if there's a mobile version. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. I don't know. I didn't actually look at that, so there's your honest review for you. But I did end up putting my print to the printer, which is obviously this entire drift car. That's not the only print that I did though, by the way. I did a whole lot more prints. But before we talk about them, let me quickly show you the way that you drip the resin here, which works really well for small parts, but it didn't work very well for some of the larger prints that I did. There was one of my prints that just wouldn't do this at all, so I don't know, maybe you just have to figure out a different way of dripping your resin off. As for taking the prints off and pulling off the supports and everything in front of you, I feel like that makes no difference because if I supported it right or wrong, it could change the way that affected how the supports came off. I can just show you the prints. That feels like the most honest way to show you what the machine does. And I'm going to tell you my thoughts as well. Since I've had this machine, I've printed a couple other things. This is one of my own models from my own Patreon, and I decided to test it on that. The next model was a miniature Tanuki. Figures made this Inusuke, and this is a solid model. Obviously the large one that I printed, that is a hollowed out model, but this one is a solid model. So I tested not only slightly larger areas of suction, but also tested out hollow models, large, tall, thin pieces, as well as my remote control vehicle. I want to show you some of the details. The fact that I can use anti-alias makes a really big difference. The Inosuke was printed at 0.03 millimeters and everything else was printed at 0.05 millimeters. So I don't know if that changes your opinion on how things look, but for me it definitely does, because the 0.05 looks so much smoother than anything out of my 16K screens, and that's because of being able to use the anti-aliasing, and I'm using the app which is from Anycubic, so I don't know if there's some magic between their anti-aliasing and what their machine does or whatever the case is, but I'm using a really high level of anti-alias which makes the parts almost look like extruded plastic. So I'm very happy about how this printer prints, by the way, and my opinion is, for the price that it is on the Kickstarter, it's definitely worth it. If it goes up to 800, do I think it's still worth it? Probably. It's in the same range as something like the Uniformation GK3T, which is slightly cheaper, but has a less industrial ball screw. If you care about ball screws, does that matter? I don't know. The thing that draws me to this machine is the vat heater, and that makes a very big difference for heating things as opposed to heating from the bottom of the screen. This keeps the resin a lot more warmer and more controlled with a vat heater. The build plate being a solid piece of steel or whatever it is that is heavy and it's never going to bend or warp or twist. That's also a bonus. It is a 3D printer. What can I say at the end of the day? It does very, very good prints, and I have actually used it to print even more things since then. For example, this rogue statue from Nympha 3D. I'm going to leave a link for all of the people and creators that I've spoken about, including the car and the statues that I've printed. I'll leave links for all of their Patreons or their Instagrams, whatever's easiest. If you are interested in any of these models, please go check them out down below, because that supports the artist and keeps this a glorious hobby that we have going, and it's very important that you go and support these people. As for the remote control car, well, this is it. This is what I ended up doing. I used a Tamiya body kit, it's just a Tamiya static model, which I printed some over fenders. There's a whole load of stuff that I did to make this thing, but really, I feel like I didn't do the best of jobs with it, so I'm gonna probably revisit this in the future. If you want me to revisit this and show you more about that when I do, well then leave some comments down below saying exactly these in the words, and I might actually come back and redo one. I do really want to do one in the future, so let me know if that's something you're interested in. But basically, after printing the car and testing out that nylon resin, I can tell you that the nylon doesn't work for everything. There is some things that it does well and other things that it just is not very good for, because it's a little bit too floppy. It's not as rigid as I would want it to be. But other than that, I can't say anything for how the printer printed it, because the printer printed it perfectly, so it's got nothing to do with how it was printed, and it's just maybe the material that I used. And so as you can see, I've got some gray parts and some dark blue parts. The dark blue is the nylon and the gray is my standard with ABS like mix, because I needed some bits to be a lot more rigid for this kind of model. And of course, we are now at the end of the video, and I want to say a massive thank you to my Patreons for helping keeping the lights blind in my eyeballs. And I will leave you with some footage of this car driving around in its all of its drifting glory, but I will just mention that my gears ended up stripping, and I'm pretty sure this is due to gear mesh, and there's nothing I can do about it with this design. But that's all from me. Go down and look for the links in the description for everything in this video, including the machine. And if you didn't like anything you saw in this video, you know the drill. You can pause.